Hi everybody, how's it going? We are here with a general and timeless reading. Before we get started, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. I'm seeing something that you're trying to figure out or decide on, and it also looks like this is something that you're doing more privately. Like this may be... yeah, maybe like a more private sector of your life where you're not ready to tell other people about this, or that you're figuring this out, or that you're considering this thing. Maybe you also don't want other people to influence this yet. Like you may want to try to figure something out yourself or do something yourself without like the opinions or like influence of other people. Trying to do something on your own. All right. Four of Pentacles. You may be getting ready to release something. I see the Four of Pentacles very much as a reminder to us to be mindful of what we're retaining and what we're holding on to. Make sure that the things that you're holding on to are important to you and that they are still relevant to you and still resonating with you. And on the flip side of things, if you're holding on to anything that's unnecessary, if you're holding on to anything that's obsolete, if you're holding on to anything that's not resonating with you anymore, or things that are just dragging you down, it's also about being conscientious about those things and potentially releasing it. There may be something that you're holding on to right now that you don't want to let go of, or you're kind of fighting yourself. I'm seeing the Star on the bottom of the deck. You may have to let something go in order to grab hold of something else, but you could be in a spot where you're like, I don't know if I want to get rid of that. It may be something that you're struggling with right now. This can also be tension between you and another person. Like there may be things that you're holding on to that's related to like beef between you and another person, and you may be letting that go. To have Libra coming out, to have the Justice card, this can mean you could be holding on to something and be like, I have a right to feel this way, and feel... what I'm getting is that there comes a time where you can be righteous with a situation. Like how Ram Dass says, you can be righteous in a situation and hold on to something and be like, I know that I'm right and I'm not letting this go, and be righteous, or you can be free, which means letting go of this entirely. But it's really your choice at the end of the day. But you may still be holding on to something, but to have the Five of Wands here, it's like there's this part of you that doesn't want to be holding on to this anymore. But part of the reason why you may still be holding on to this is like, I have a right to be holding on to this. I will say this too, just because you let go of something or you work through it, you learn how to transmute the energy, you forgive somebody, doesn't mean you need to allow somebody back into your life to do the same thing again. You don't need to give anybody access to you. You can still hold love and space for that person. You can still have loving thoughts towards somebody and also have a boundary of not having them back in your life. It's not going to be that severe for each of you. This can be just like holding on to something that you're recognizing is just like weighing you down at this point to hold on to. And it can be like fear that you're holding on to, of not putting yourself out there, or of holding yourself back from something that you want to do, and your spirit is like, hey, I want to try this thing out, and there's this part of you that's like, no, I'm scared, or like, I'm not seeing anybody else doing it. You're being drawn in a direction, and you're starting to feel this more and more strongly. trying to figure out the best way to go about handling this situation. Analyzing your tactics as well. Anytime that I see the Justice card, I see that as being about some sort of exchange that you have with someone, any type of relationship, whether it be you with yourself, you with another person, you with like a company or work or something like that. This feels like something personal to me. There's something that when you check in, it doesn't feel good to hold on to this anymore. Like you don't have happy thoughts about this when you're holding on to it. And it seems like this is kind of the indicator for you of, even if you are feeling righteous within a situation, like, does it feel good to be holding on to that and asking yourself, like, is that worth it to you? Because I see the Four of Pentacles as sometimes like stubbornly not wanting to shed something, and then inevitably we hit like a Tower or the Death card, and it's like you have no choice, it gets ripped out of your hands. What it looks like now is that this Five of Wands is coming up and saying, hey, this is your signal internally to let go of this thing that needs to be let go of, but it's your choice right now as to whether or not something needs to be straightened out, it seems. And that's why the Justice card is coming through, because it says like something's going on that value-wise you are developing and something's no longer in alignment for you to be holding on to. And so this means that you have the opportunity to release this. It's just about figuring out how to do that, because I'm seeing this be somewhat of a maybe different process than what you're used to. I'm also hearing controversial, so could be something along those lines popping up. This is between you and another person. Be mindful of how you're going about doing this. And keep in mind too, like, what you want the end result to be within this situation as well. It's going to help you stay on track. I'm also seeing too that the longer you hold on to this, the longer you may feel that it's actually keeping you from your pursuit of happiness. This is what we're coming down to. Even if you feel like you have been wronged within a situation, like, how free do you want to be? Like, on one level, on one plane, you can be righteous. Like, on another plane, like, sort of back behind this is something that you can let go of. It's not something that you need to keep or hold on to anymore. I have O stalking me down there. So if you keep holding on to this, it may be something that you feel like becomes a barrier to you actually feeling happy. And that's why this feeling is coming up for you. Like, I feel conflicted about holding on to this. I feel like I'm being righteous in holding on to this, but like, is that actually what you want? Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Free. And it really, that's what it comes down to. And again, that's not to say that on like one plane, on one perspective, plane of understanding, of consciousness, something may have happened that was unjust in some way. Maybe multiple things that happened. Then there are planes that are higher up above this that are able to release this and let it go. It just depends on what exactly you're tapping into. But it's something that can be accepted as is, and you can continue moving forward. Because I'm seeing there be this like emotional awareness on your end that you're developing, where you're like, as much as I can find reasons to hold on to this, I don't know if I want to anymore, because I feel this part of myself that like wants to feel bliss or peace that I'm not feeling right now. about this situation. And so this is about like liberating yourself from that. And really what this comes down to is that it's becoming a situation that solely involves you and yourself and how you process. And this is about taking away all of the other like people and moving parts of this situation and bringing it all into like you and the like ecology within you and how you're processing this. So through the working through and release of this turmoil that at times you may feel transfixed by, I'm seeing then you analyze like, what am I doing within this situation? It's like I've been like bopping around trying to work through this, trying to figure out what the right thing is to do here within this situation for myself, how I develop a sense of balance where I wasn't feeling that before, how I balance my thoughts and my emotions. And this is like figuring out how to do this, in a way that works for you. And this is being present enough to be paying attention to what's working and what's not working. And because of this sense of like awareness and mindfulness that you're moving through this process with, of there's something that I'm holding on to. I'm aware of me holding on to something that I may not need to be holding on to anymore, or something that's bringing me down to hold on to now, because I'm starting to feel conflicted because this is now getting in the way of something else that I want. Something that I want maybe more now, because maybe rather than holding on to this, I'm sacrificing an aspect of my happiness. And so you get to a point where the happiness becomes more important to you, or the leveling out mentally becomes important to you, or the healing becomes important to you, or the peace becomes important to you, whatever this is that you're striving for. It becomes important enough to you that you now feel, me holding on to this thing is a barrier and conflicting with this other thing that I want. So this is your warning for you. Otherwise you wouldn't be feeling conflicted. Conflict comes from duality, and the whole point of this is like an internal message coming up for you saying you're doing two different things. You may want something, but you're doing something else. How do we bring these together and synthesize them? So again, like, conflict arises from duality. You have to bridge the gap here, and that's what this is about. But it may be a different type of system that you're developing right now to work with. One that becomes integrated with your spirituality rather than just like a worldly system that you are using. One that now considers your values that you are developing. And this is you figuring out how to make that system work, how to use this new system that you're developing and apply it. And this is you checking in and being like, is this working? Oh, that didn't work there. Let me tweak this over here and get that thing running. And so this is you like actually being the mastermind behind this and analyzing it and seeing what is going to work most effectively until you get a running system that is effective and doing what you want it to do. So this is you really taking back control in a way that before you're like, if I hold on to this, I'm going to have the control, but then you're realizing it's getting in the way of what you actually want, what you desire from a deeper space. And you realize that by letting go of this thing, you are actually gaining that control that you're looking for. And then we fall into the Ten of Cups, which is achieving something emotionally, spiritually that feels important to you. The Ten of Pentacles, which is like stabilizing in a way that feels, again, important to you. These are two ideals. The Ten of Cups is more like ideals within your experience that are maybe not physical or tangible, but they're experienced and felt. Ten of Pentacles can be more like tangible stability that you're feeling. And then to have the Emperor here, this is you really, I'm hearing using your charm. Interesting. To have the Emperor here, this is about you really knowing how you're moving the pieces and doing so in a wise way, where you're really thinking about your like end goal here. Like, what do you want from this? What is the end result? Because the Emperor, with the Emperor, there's a sense of stamina, and there is this notion of and belief and motto of maybe making a more difficult decision now, but being able to delay gratification to get what I want at the end of this. So it's this building that you're doing, and I'm seeing something that's like just starting to sort of come up for you with this Page of Cups that's next to the Emperor of I'm now guiding and becoming the architect of my life. Emperor Aries, things having to do with like engineering and architecture and building. Now using your intuition to guide you through this process. So it's no longer, again, like this worldly process of me going through this. This is going through this process, going about this process in a way that now synthesizes like your spiritual evolution and emotional evolution into it and infuses the situation with this. Reaping results, yielding results that you actually want. And feeling unstuck. Feels very much like learning the right way to do something, and when I say right, I mean a way that's going to really work for you, that you want. So it's like the right way for you personally. Not for everybody, not to be applied to everybody, but I mean right in a subjective sort of way for you. Wow, how about that? Whatever this is that you've been looking into and analyzing, I'm definitely seeing you've been making major progress with this, following your intuition and working through things related to the past. So something may be coming up for you that's connected with the past. I see this like, this card reminds me sort of the 4th house. Your past, your family, how you were raised or brought up, people that you have any sort of history with, any sort of nostalgia, things like that. It looks like this is like a very, very big review that you're doing, working through something privately, something deeply emotional for you, and also going about doing this somewhat privately. I'm looking at the Hermit here. So on the bottom of the deck I have Virgo. I'm also looking at Pluto, Aries. I'm hearing Jupiter. Jupiter rules Sag, Pisces too, and I'm also looking at Libra. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for connecting. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.